This panel, we are going to discuss about how to account for virtual assets, right? Many companies at international level, they are investing into virtual assets, but how are these virtual assets being accounted for in the balance sheet, financial statement, and all that? So we have called some experts, and they are all ACCA members, right? And we have Mr. Tuhobol, which is from the Regulator, the FRC, and then Sandrine Permall from Caseware at IT, and then Sanat Bheeroo from W.consulting, and also a lecturer. Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. So let's start with the very basic question with regard how do we account for virtual asset actually, right? Do we have like a specific IFRS like address this particular things asset of, but let's say virtual asset? Maybe Sanat, you can reply to this question.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Sanat from W.consulting. A good question. So I will deceive the accountants because unfortunately we don't have any IFRS standard relating to virtual assets and cryptocurrencies. Mm-hmm. But the good news is we do have something called an agenda paper, right? Agenda paper was issued by the IFRS Interpretation Committee. We call that the committee. And the committee tried to understand how IFRS standards are related to digital assets and cryptocurrencies. Mm-hmm. And I will start with what cryptocurrency is not in the language of accounting. Mm-hmm. So cryptocurrency is not a currency. Well, I'll shock you. It is not a currency. If you look at the definition of a currency in accordance with IFRS standards, right? And for that purpose, we have to refer to IS 32, which deals with financial assets, right? Paragraph AG3, right? Which defines what is a currency. A currency is a cash, a medium of exchange. And it is also a monetary unit that is used to price goods and services.
You mean it is legal tender? That's what you mean?
It is not legal tender because it is not backed by a jurisdictional authority. Okay. This is the first characteristic of cryptocurrency under the agenda decision. So I will talk about the agenda paper. So the committee observed that we have a range of crypto assets, but the focus was on cryptocurrencies. And there are some characteristics that make cryptocurrency not a currency and not cash. It is a non-monetary item. And now we need to ask ourselves a question. So what is it then? So in the language of the standard, so for accountants, you need to refer to two IFRS, two accounting standards in order to deal with the accounting of cryptocurrencies, right? And the agenda paper focuses only on cryptocurrencies. So it is firstly, what's the purpose? What's the nature of a cryptocurrency? That's the discussion in the agenda paper. So is it help for an investment purpose? If yes, then it is an intangible asset. An intangible asset. And then we account for it under IS 38. And what is an intangible asset? According to this standard, it says it is an identifiable, non-monetary asset without physical substance. So we understand that cryptocurrency is not a.
I have a question for this. I think you're referring to the IAS 38, right? 38. Where they mention it is non-monetary, right? But for me, all the cryptocurrencies, it has a monetary value, right? Right? Am I right? Or
okay, let me tell you something. This is gloss here. It is a non-monetary item, mm-hmm. But I use a monetary unit to price it. Does that gloss, which is a non-monetary item, becomes a monetary item? So we're using a currency which is a monetary item, mm-hmm. to price something which is not a monetary item. Mm-hmm. My example of a gloss here. Okay. So cryptocurrency is just like that gloss.
Yeah. Okay. So accounting wise, like you mean, right? Okay. Okay. I got this. And now let's go to Mr. Tuhobol, right? From a regulator's perspective. Do you have like some clear guidance on how should all these companies that are investing into virtual assets, how these virtual assets should be accounted for? What are you looking like at all the balance sheets like for the moment?
Thank you, Benito. As you just mentioned, virtual assets is new and it is growing rapidly. there is an increase in its value and it is attracting more people. So what is happening is that the increase in value has made the regulators to come up with regulations, but it is yet difficult to come up with a regulation to regulate properly the virtual assets. Even the standard setters have not yet come up with a standard that can look into the classifications, the proper classification of virtual assets. What we have is an IS-38 that is being used. And we as regulator, we rely on the standard that is available. So we have to ensure that whenever a company is dealing with cryptocurrencies, these are accounted for as per the standard that it is. And yet, you see, even I've talked to persons from the ISB that they are not going forward, at least for the time being, with a standard on that matter, because presently with the research that they have made, the cryptocurrency is not yet worldwide accepted.
But I have a question for you. The total market capitalization of this industry is around 1.2 trillion USD. But where are all these 1.2 trillion USD sitting on accounts?
Yeah. Again, I have to stress, not all the jurisdictions have come with regulations.
Okay, yeah.
So when there is no regulations, so it is difficult still for the persons, the companies to account for this, because we have to rely on regulations, on standards. If somebody is dealing with that, so they have to make it only possible to put it in the balance sheet with regards to what is available. And the only standard that is available is the IS.
Right.
So the way we account it as it is an asset, or it's an investment, or we are going to expense it. So it all depends how that cryptocurrency is being used. And based on the existing standard, this is where the accountant have to look into it, whether they are meeting the characteristic of these standards.
All right, but are there signs that the ISB is working on a specific standard with regard to the accounting of virtual asset?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. As Sanat said, there is a discussion paper not at the ISB level, but ISB is not yet working on that. They are still analyzing, but not in the near future. They are coming with a standard.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tuhobol. And now let's go to Sandrine. And it was a very insightful presentation, right, from you. How blockchain is going to impact on the role of accountants with regard to internal and external audit, right? And what are the things that accountants should do, like to learn about blockchain? Or they need to upskill themselves, or what are the things that they need to do?
Okay, I do. So I don't think accountants are going to be, the engineers with super deep knowledge of blockchain and Cryptoverse. However, there'll definitely be advisors. They'll be definitely talking about risks, about controls and the environment, the analytics. So how to upskill, be present in that type of platform, stay in touch and read more about the technology and start preparing your different procedures to test and make sure that your advisors to management.
Thank you. And do you think that at government level, right, we should start introducing a blockchain, right, in the different modules at the university level or secondary levels for all the future accountants? They need to learn about blockchain right from I would say from the young age.
Yeah, introducing it from a very, very young age. I think in the ecosystem is gonna come at some point in time, not tomorrow, but it will definitely come and slowly but surely, introduce the concept to make sure that we also know the universe of risk and controls and all. Yeah.
All right, thank
Cool.
you.
Pleasure.
Sanat, we have discussed about this, and virtual asset, it has a definition in a legal framework in Mauritius under the Viswajithsing Act, right? It is something which is legal now, right? And why we are still based on the IAS 38? Do you think that to change, we need to bring something specific, for the accounting of virtual asset? Because all these standards, they were here, I think, for many years. And now we are having innovation like cryptocurrency. Should we adapt to all these innovation and find ways how to account for it properly?
All right. Before answering this question, I would like to clarify one thing as well. We've got two accounting standards that are relevant for the holding of cryptocurrencies. Yes, we've got IAS 38, but we also have IAS 2, right? For a commodity broker. When a cryptocurrency is held for sales in the ordinary course of business, then you have to apply IAS 2 inventories. And for that purpose, the cryptocurrencies will be measured at fair value less cost to sell, right? According to paragraph 3B of IAS 2. Now, coming to your question, one thing, if you look at the law itself, the Act 2021 Act, right? It aligns with the agenda paper, because it says there a virtual asset can be used as a means for payment or for investment purposes. However, it cannot be used instead of a fiat currency
For payment.
So I think it says that it should not be allowed to imitate a digital. It should not be a digital representation of fiat currencies, and it is not a financial asset. So I think that according to the law itself, it is in harmony with the agenda paper.
All right, but now I have a very tricky question for you. Okay, do you know that in the world we have two countries, El Salvador and Central Africa? They have recognized Bitcoin as a legal tender, and how this affect the accounting?
Good question. How many countries are there in the world?
Only two.
How many countries are there in the world? 195 countries.
Exactly.
195 countries. Only two countries out of 195. So it is not widely accepted, right? And that's why it cannot be treated as a currency or cash.
No, but
so we need
in these two countries, they are considered as legal tenders. But how are we going to account for this now?
Yeah, good. But it is not issued by a jurisdictional authority.
No, it is not from government. They are private. Yeah.
Good. So therefore, according to the agenda paper, it should be issued by a jurisdictional authority. Then it will have the characteristic of cryptocurrency and align itself with the existing IFRS standards, IAS 38, IAS 2. So since it is not widely accepted, because I don't think that those two countries, all the imports will be priced in Bitcoins, and when the exportation will be priced in Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm.
So when they deal with other countries, I don't think they will be allowed to use Bitcoin as such. Mm-hmm. So it is not widely accepted. That's the thing here. And it is not issued by a jurisdictional authority. Mm-hmm. That's why it cannot meet the definition of cash or currency in accordance with existing IFRS standards.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for this, Sanat.
I just want to add to it. Once a virtual asset become a pandemic, then you're sure you will have a proper standard for it.
All right. Then.
Accountant joke.
All right. Thank you. So, Mr. Tuhobol, maybe a last question for you. In Mauritius, I know if we are organizing trainings on accounting for virtual assets. I think Sanat is organizing something on that, right? Do you think that this is very important, for our accountants in Mauritius to keep pace with all the latest development in this space?
It is a must. I think it is a must, because while talking to many accounting firms, presently they don't have clients that are dealing with cryptocurrencies. But the way it is coming with a rapid increase in the volume of transactions, that because we have our Vitus now. So we have seen many companies coming with their products in virtual asset, and eventually they will end up in the balance sheet. So if the people working in the environment of accountancy who are going to prepare the accounts, and those persons who are auditing that accounts, if we don't trust this, training
ACCA or EW. So what do you think about this?
I believe it should be a concern for everybody in the financial sector, not
Okay.
only for one authority.
All
It
right.
is for the auditors, for the accountants, for the ACCA, even for Wakanda. We can organize training
Yeah,
for
why not?
these people.
Thank you for this.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to open the Q&A session, and if we have any question from the audience, any accountants, maybe Vijay, I don't know if he has the whole thing there. We can have a question from Vijay. Anyone, please? Yes. Okay, we have two questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Benito. Since you mentioned my name, so I'll rather take the mic. A question for Sandrine. Just wondering, given that, Sanat and Mr. Tuhobol mentioned that there is no such accounting standard, no auditing, procedures to kind of, helping with those virtual assets, digital coins. I'm just wondering now, from your point of view, with regard to Caseware, how does that fit in to the system to kind of helping those kind of transaction, how is it, Caseware helping for those, given that there is no such standards? Thank you.
Thank you for that. So remember, Caseware is a product developed in Toronto. It's present across the globe. So we do have clients dealing with blockchain. We dealing with accounting or education and also auditing. So we are simply tapping on the existing knowledge we have at Caseware. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, the panelists for the insights. My question is more about, let's say I have a company and I sell computers online, for example, as a business, and how can I account my finance if I use Bitcoin as a currency? Thank you.
Sorry, we didn't hear the question.
Yes, we are. So let's say I open a company and I sell computer online, and the transaction I do is in Bitcoin. If I do that transaction, like you explained that cryptocurrency has no real value, how is it considered? Like, how should we account it? How should we consider it in a business standpoint?
Well, I think according to the agenda paper, if it is held for an investment purpose, then it will be accounted for as an intangible asset. But if it is held for sales in the ordinary course of business, then it will be in a current asset item in terms of inventory. That's the only guidance we have regarding cryptocurrencies.
No, but the question is about, it's not an investment, right? But Bitcoin was used as a payment, right? And the asset that they are buying is going to be on the balance sheet. But what about the money that has been spent from the company's wallet, right? E-wallet to this company. So it should be accounted as an expense.
No, because we need to understand the double entries.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. It's a double entries.
Yeah, because the Bitcoin, instead of being classified as cash and cash equivalent,
Okay.
it will be treated as an intangible asset or inventory. And then you will have to credit that intangible asset. You credit intangible asset, you reduce your intangible asset, and you debit your,
All right,
your
okay.
items or property,
All right,
property
I
plant
think
and
it's
equipment.
clear for me now. All right, okay, got it. Okay, thank you for this question.